What's going on, everyone? I hope you all are enjoying your wonderful weekend. I hope you all are staying safe and not getting into any sort of trouble, especially as we approach New Year's Day. Sitting here on New Year's Eve, it's been just a day full of reflection. It's been a day full of wonderful opportunities, and it's been a day that I rejoice with my family once again. And I love having all opportunities all the time in the world to be with my family. I love it to death, being with my wife and being with my children. But you know what? All of the success that you might obtain, that I've obtained, that my family's obtained, it doesn't mean anything in the world if you don't have anybody to share it with. So the success that I want to talk about in particular, that I have had just tremendous success with just this year, and it felt so good because I had my family to support me. I had my wife and my children, my parents and my siblings. I've had people within the industry who are also authors and readers who are supporters of mine, who sign up for my newsletter throughout the year. Other authors who I've met at different book events, and just teachers from schools and librarians, store owners of bookstores, the whole medium, and my mentors and military co-workers of mine. It's just been one heck of a ride just this year in 2023. So as you saw in the picture, I published 5 books this year, just this year. 5 books to my book publishing company, Osiris Inc. Publishing. You can actually go to my website, osirisinc.com. The link and all the information will be in the description, but it is OCYRUSINK.com. I also have a podcast, Osiris Inc. Podcast, the same spelling, but just drop podcast into it. In fact, if you just type in Osiris Inc. into like Spotify or what's the other one, Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music, or is it Audible? One of those, iHeartRadio, you'll find my stuff on there too. So just give it a good listen. I talk about some really good things, and of course on my YouTube channel here, I seek to try to motivate people and just provide inspiration. But that's a whole different topic. Today specifically, I just want to talk about the world of book publishing. And it's important to me. Just literacy as a whole is just important. There was a time, man, like as a kid, my imagination just running wild, and I didn't know how to put anything into perspective, but I managed to always use my imagination with my sister and my brother, and we would just have these crazy ideas. A lot of it maybe pertained to video games we played, maybe it was the cartoon shows we watched, but man, I say all that in saying, once you know what your niche is, once you know what your gift is, you know exactly what you want to do. It's hard to stop you. And with that, I'd like to show off a few books of mine that I published just this year. Starting, this is the first book that came to mind, in no particular order. So actually, I'm gonna come back to this book. I'm gonna go in order in which I released it. Goodbye, John. This is a children's story for ages 0 to 8. It's probably more geared towards children from 0 to 5, but that age range of 0 to 8 seemed to work really well when I went to go read it at elementary schools. But it's a very fun book. Let me just go through a few pages here and show you all. You know, this is a story pretty much about a kid who grew up with a stuffed animal, hence as you can see here, kid who grew up with a stuffed animal. He formed all these awesome memories with this stuffed animal, but then when he became a little old, he couldn't necessarily keep up with it anymore, and so he decided to give it to another young child so they could form their own memories with it. That's what Goodbye, John is about. It's an awesome read. That one came out in April of this year. Don't quote me. March or April of this year. Sorry. Okay, let's see. What else we got? The next book I got that came out, I want to say it was this one. It's Okay to Not Be Okay. Now, yeah, you might see this little label on it. It's actually an unofficial copy, the author copy that I got from Amazon. But this one, you see the name is Erica I. Reyes. That is my cuñada, Spanish for sister-in-law. But she's a poet as well. I actually ghost wrote the majority of this book, but she provided a great source of material with it. I'm really proud of this one because this was a collaborative effort of us And it was just awesome. It was an awesome experience. She talks about heartbreak in this poetry book. She talks about her journey and her experiences with love. She focuses primarily like on love and that growth and the love that she had for people, and just a lot of heartbreak and gut-wrenching things that helps people who have gone through similar circumstances. So I recommend getting this book. This came out in June of 2016. So the next book that we launched from my book company was this one, Dear Sick Mental Virus. So this is a poetry book, much like It's Okay to Not Be Okay. This is a poetry book. Now, this one is specifically targeted for people who have struggled with any sort of mental health issues. It's not only filled with poetry that is captivating in a sense of people who have actually gone through some really tough times, some really dark places. Yep, I talk about that stuff, but it's also very, very motivational. Like, there's things in this book that I point out, that is meant to inspire you and meant to help you get better, meant to help put you in a better light, in a better place. And it's sprinkled throughout the book, so it's not all so heavy. I also encourage those who don't even read poetry to read it, because not all of it is written in rhymes. Not all of it is written in a way that if you don't understand poetry or that poetic language, you can still understand it. So yeah, check this one out. Remember, all this information is all these books are on my website. So that's book number 3. Book number 4, this one, Gravesite of Mahogany. So this book is, I labeled it as like a psychological thriller. If anyone has grown up watching, I don't know, shows like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, this is my take on that. We got Nancy Drew's, I forgot the name of her, like detective books, but this is my style, right? It's a picture book as well. Well, it's not necessarily, it's a picture, it has pictures in it, but it's got, it's quite riveting. It's about a story of a kid who's going through an episode of psychosis, and his parents are these treasure hunters. They go off into the forest. So let me backtrack really quick. Not only are they treasure hunters, but they specifically hunt for historic artifacts. And a lot of it is prohibited in trying to obtain it. So they go against the grain and they go and search all around the world for these things. Well, they ended up going to this mysterious forest named the Alona Forest. And in it, they obtained this relic from this deceased chief from a tribe. They dug his grave up. They took and ripped the medallion right off of this dude's neck. Of course, it was a skeleton. Took the skeleton, and tossed it, and then left the grave just dug up. And then they eventually run up and come across this kid. His name is Ahriman. And this kid, who also looks a bit mischievous himself, is just randomly wandering the forest looking for his parents. And so with the main character's parents being parents, they see this kid and they say, let me bring you back home, go find your parents. And then from there, they go back to their house. The main character, who's on this book cover, his name is Clay. He is introduced to Ahriman via his parents. And then, the rest is history. I'll let you all read that if you all are into it. So that's this one. And then the last book that I published this year, which I'm so surprised we actually managed to do it, but bang, is John Saves Christmas. So this book, it was a joy. Not only was it a joy to write, but it was a joy to read it. It was a joy to do the audiobook for it. It was a joy to provide it to all types of children, my children included, and not just with just the book, but I had all types of accessories, or as we know it in the industry, is swag. Had sunglasses, different types of glasses, little different color bears, different color bunny rabbits, had custom-made bookmarks that my wife was gracious enough to make. Man, it's been incredible. But let me show you just some of the illustrations, right? Let me not show that one. That might be a spoiler, but here, let's go here. Since Christmas just passed. So this is just some of the illustrations. You might not really be able to see it, but this is the opening of the book. And this book is dealing with John now. If I show you this one and this one, yes, they are interchangeable. This is pretty much the prequel to everything. Wasn't meant to make sequels out of it, but it did so well in the schools that children really wanted to see this money return. So John Saves Christmas. The point of John Saves Christmas is exactly what the title says. He saves Christmas. So, really the bulk of this story deals heavily with the idea that Santa Claus grew terribly ill on Christmas Eve. And there's 5 hours left until Christmas occurs. So John receives a knock on the door from Santa's little helpers, also known as Sebastian and Noah in this book. Knock on his door, say, hey, Santa Claus received your letter, but there's a problem. He's really sick and we can't really do anything about it unless we help him get some medicine. But you, John, you're the one that Santa Claus really thinks is up to the challenge to do it. So we need your help and we need to find the medicine quick, because if we don't, then there won't be a Christmas. And that would be terrible if children woke up with no gifts underneath their Christmas tree. So that's what the point of this book is, John Saves Christmas. And while I'm at it, though this book did not come out this year, I have a 6th book to my name. It's also an award-winning book. It's won 5 international awards, including Best Poetry Book and Best Writing, Best Nonfiction as well. So this book this was my first published book. I published it in 2022, like October 31st, 2022. But this one has been doing really well. It's in Barnes & Noble, hence the signed edition is at the Barnes & Noble store and a few locations. But if y'all are interested, just go to my website, man, or just hit me up and I'm more than happy to just provide copies. I'll talk to you. I can give you a discounted price if you're coming through straight from my website. But yeah, it's awesome. It's one heck of an opportunity, to be able to provide this material. But what I will say in recording this video as we wrap up 2023 is just follow your dreams. If you are working a 9-to-5 or a day job or whatever, however you phrase it, don't just give that up. You want to work towards something, excuse me, and if, in the pursuit of what you're trying to do ends up becoming lucrative financially to where you can just backpedal and leave what you were doing to do that, or just do both. Be smart about it. Right now I'm in the military, and the military is really beneficial, not just for my family, but for me as well. I get to also impact lives, protect the country, and do all those things that goes with serving in the military. But on the other side, aside from me being a husband and a father and loving what I do with my family, I also have my medium that I do outside of that, which is writing books, which is doing poetry, which is doing podcasts, which is recording videos and being a content creator as well. And it's a machine that once you're really disciplined in what you're doing, it just doesn't stop. So as you head into 2024, set some good goals for yourself, man. Like, set some goals that you feel like you can obtain, some realistic goals, set some long-term goals, some short-term goals, and things that you can obtain, man, and write it down. Write the vision and make it plain. So with that, I say thank you all so much for sticking around this video, listening to me, and no matter what, continue to push, continue to strive, and continue to move forward. Everything that you want is destined for you. You just got to get up and get to it. And with that, I'll talk to you all later. Take care. Oh, I forgot to mention one last thing. Have a happy new year, everyone. Bye.